Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on The Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum. It's like a dream.
That's right, folks. It is like a dream. It is Taco Tuesday, and we are having a good old time here on The Rundown. Now, Mike, you're looking kind of fancy today, Mike. I'm not used to seeing you in a coat and a tie.
Yeah, well, I'm not wearing any pants, so don't worry about it. It's a little remembrance of our good friend George Wendt, who passed away. So I'm dressed, wearing my best Norm Peterson go to the bar outfit, and I'm drinking a beer out of a mug. So
You know, I think there are a few characters on TV that will be more well remembered, than Norm.
yeah, listen, he was one of a kind. One of a kind. That show was iconic for us. One of the two or three iconic shows of a generation, of two
Yes.
generations.
Oh, most definitely. It launched a number of television and movie careers. But not just that. It was everyday working. I mean, can you think of on that show? First of all, just about everything happened right there in the bar. In that, it was literally almost that same like one or two different shots the entire show.
Yeah, the only other shows that were like that were Barney Miller and All in the Family, almost exclusively in one or two scenes of location.
Yeah, which tells you that meant that the writing and the acting was what carried it. It wasn't a whole lot of fancy stuff. It was literally just quality entertainment.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we got some other quality entertainment here for you called The Rundown. So we're going to go ahead and get into news. I don't know if it's an infotainment. We'll call it infotainment because we give you a little bit of news, we give you a little bit of entertainment, and we try to make it fun. But before we get into that, let's do what we do usually first, and that is give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, you probably got one of their barrels. You don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them factory direct. Just get on over to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount there. And if you're looking for field gear, tactical gear, web gear, outdoor gear, law enforcement, military, EMS, whatever it may be, you can get everything except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor, do them a favor, do yourself a favor. Visit their websites. All you got to do is follow the links in the description of this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you're watching us live at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Rumble, on Facebook, or on Twitter, go ahead and comment. We are following you. We are following your comments, and if we find them to be interesting, we will go ahead and we will share them with the audience. Now, interesting does not necessarily mean that we agree, but if we disagree, we do reserve the right to mock you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We will. We'll do it too.
We will. I'm especially today, I am specifically feeling kind of encouraged to go ahead and mock you. we're going to start today with kind of a bit of a nerdy topic to a certain degree. And I believe this because a lot of people hear there's a lot of things in the news right now where people are talking about. First, you hear Republicans talking a lot about entitlements and the need to reform entitlements, right? And the big challenge with dealing with entitlements. Well, by the way, at the same time, you also hear Republicans saying, "Look, we're not going to touch Medicare. We're not going to touch. Social Security. And largely, in particular, when it comes to Social Security, because it almost pays for itself with the money that they take out in taxes. But the one area where there's a lot of disagreement and a lot of misunderstanding has to do with Medicaid. And so right now you're hearing all this talk about all these people are going to be thrown off of healthcare. Well, a guy named Craig Gutwald, and he is known as Craig the Healthcare Guru. Yeah, no, when I wrote the title of the program, I wasn't talking about Craig Deleuze, the Healthcare Guru, but a guy who was on a local show here, and he was talking about. He really helps you to understand what Medicaid was when it was created and what it's turned into. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the lies that Democrats are now telling you about Medicaid. So here's Craig Gutwald on the Armstrong and Getty show.
Well, it underscores just how we can never give anything to the government. Well, this is why we can't have nice things, right? So in 1965, the federal government passed Medicare and Medicaid. And specifically with respect to Medicaid, the whole idea was, man, we need a safety net for like single moms with disabled children who are falling through the cracks. We need this mechanism to just capture the most disadvantaged among us, to help them out and to give them a lift, right? So we did. And back when this was passed in 1965, it was designed to cover 2% of Americans. 2%. Today, it covers 1 in 3 Americans and 41% of all babies birthed in our country.
Whoa! 41% of babies born.
So originally for the blind, the disabled, the utterly unable to help themselves, and now it is approaching half of us.
Is that because we have so many more single moms with blind babies, or what has happened?
Well, you know better than I, Jack. This is entitlement creep, government creep at its finest. I mean, when this really took off and became insane was with Obamacare in the early 20-teens. When Obamacare came into play, Obamacare was bribing the states because the way this thing works, it's an agreement between the state and the federal government, and there's shared financing, right? So the federal government couldn't just say to the states, you shall expand Medicaid. But what the federal government did is said, hey, look, if you expand Medicaid, to basically able-bodied working age people now, because we'd already, had Medicaid for all the other categories you just mentioned, Joe, the government said, look, if you do that, the federal government, will pay 100% of it for some time, and then we'll pay 90% of it. So all but 10 states went ahead and said, heck yeah, we'll take that deal. And so now with that Medicaid expansion that occurred with Obamacare, it's 90% paid for by federal taxpayers, and it covers anywhere from 8 million to 14 million able-bodied working adults, or I should say able-bodied adults, some of which are working, some of which aren't.
And in a bizarre twist, correct me if I'm wrong, the federal government compensates the states at a much higher percentage for able-bodied dudes smoking pot on their parents' basement couch than they do for actual, disabled people and blind babies.
So that's, once again, that was I sent a link to that. This is Craig Gutwald's Substack. I put a link in the comment section, so you can go there and you can read the entire thing. He breaks it down really, really well. But Mike, the thing that gets me once again about all of this is that now they're talking about, well, all these people are going to lose their health care. Well, one of the things, Mike, that they're talking about has to do with the work requirement, which basically right now, if you are under the age of 54 and you are able to work, meaning it hasn't been deemed that you are unable to work, you have to work 80 hours in a month. Or whether it's volunteer or you're trying to find a job or something like that, you have to put it, which basically works out to about 20 hours a week. What they're doing is they're now increasing that to 65, meaning that if you are 64 and you are you are on Medicaid, you then have to verify that you've at least you're looking for a job, you're spending 20 hours a week volunteering, you're doing something. That's the big stealing of healthcare that Democrats are up in arms about.
Yeah, Greg, and listen, I'm not an accountant by any means, but Norm Peterson was an accountant. I feel like I'm channeling him right now when I tell you you should recognize that it's a bad investment to give free money to blind babies. You're not getting that back. It's not coming back. I'm pretty sure you're not getting that money back. To watch. I mean, really, if a blind baby asks you for $20, you giving them $20?
If I do, I'm not expecting it back. It's a gift. It's not a. I'm not expecting it back.
Right? You're not getting that back. You're not getting that back. He don't even know who he got it from. I mean, really, he's blind. He's blind. So it's continued, like you said. Every cycle, every president has added a little bit more on, until we got to Obamacare, where they added a ton on. We added 90% on. Is what we ended up adding on. So this is something that needs to be put out there. So those that are sitting there going, why can't we have Medicare for everyone? Well, how about you get a job, first off? But two, that's not what the program was designed for. And you want to know why it costs so much now? It's because you've abused it for the past, 60 years.
Right. And that's exactly what's happened is it's been turned into, especially a lot of the costs that we're looking at now, the overwhelming majority that he's talking about, occurred under Obamacare. In other words, they used it as a way in which to get the government into the healthcare business into the states. As he noted, all but 10 states went ahead and expanded eligibility for Medicaid. Once again, it used to be to cover the neediest of the needy. Now you can be of working age, you can be able-bodied and still get on Medicaid. It's the step before single payer. And trust me, once we get to single payer, now you are looking at dramatically huge healthcare costs because government is not going to rein in the cost of healthcare. They never have, and they never will. You're going to start to look at rationing because what they're going to say is they're not going to deal with the cost. They're just going to start telling doctors and healthcare providers, this is all we're going to provide you. This is all we're going to give you. And healthcare providers are going to start saying, yeah, no, we're just not going to provide it for you then. We're done. Yeah, we're not going to lose money.
Yeah, they get rid of service. Quality of service is going to be gone as well. And not worth it. Yeah, remember when Medicaid started, Craig, it wasn't meant to be your 100% insurance. It was meant to be a gap insurance for those that needed it.
Right. It was for those to help get them on their feet, yada, yada, yada. Now, keeping in mind, there's a difference between Medicaid and Medicare. Medicare is for seniors, right? We're not, once again, nobody is talking about touching Medicare, but, Democrats will lie and make it sound like, oh, yeah, we're going to throw all these seniors off of Medicare. No, that's not what they said. That's not what anybody said. But a lot of this, and it's funny, I don't know if you saw when RFK went before the House, he noted, look, there's 1 million people that are collecting for both Obamacare and for Medicaid. There's also about 1 million people who are getting Medicaid, applying for Medicaid in multiple states. A lot of the savings they're going to get is just in terms of dealing with that. And by the way, making able-bodied people who refuse to work actually work in order to get on the free healthcare.
Yeah, no, you're correct. Let's see if they can get it straight. Let's see if anybody listen. We know they're not going to, but at least we can put it out there.
So as they fearmonger, folks, just realize, once again, go back, read the piece. It's there in the comment section. They're in the comments. Go ahead, read this piece, check it out, because once again, Greg does a phenomenal. Craig, I keep saying Greg. Craig does a phenomenal job of breaking it down. And you need to understand this stuff because they're going to gaslight you. The left is definitely going to gaslight you. They are not worried about gaslighting, and so we got to tell the truth, right? So let's make sure we do that. Kind of like telling the truth about what's been going on in Tim Walz's Minnesota. Now, Tim Walz would have you believe, or Democrats would have you believe that that Minnesota is this great, wonderful success where liberalism has actually worked, where progressivism, where Marxism and socialism has actually worked. Well, we already know that economically it hasn't worked. We know that educationally it hasn't worked. And now we know when it comes to public safety, it is an utter failure. And how do we know? Because DHS is revealing it. Tim Walz's Minnesota. DHS arrests illegal alien murderer, gang member, sex offenders, and drug dealers. And there you have Tim Walz with his boys, all of which are alien criminals, shall we say. Anyway, it says here, several convicted criminal illegal aliens have been arrested across Minnesota in the last few months, the Department of Homeland Security revealed. The cases were released after Governor Tim Walz compared federal immigration enforcement to the Gestapo, the secret police created by Adolf Hitler's National Socialist regime. During his commencement speech at the University of Minnesota Law School this week, Walz compared ICE agents to Hitler's Gestapo. Quote, Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss loved ones goodbye. Just grabbed up by the masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared, Walz said. Now, once again, Mike, now we've now seen some of these folks, so now we know Breitbart is actually revealing some of the rap sheets of the folks in Minnesota who have been scooped up by the Gestapo, and all I know is it sounds to me like they're doing a good job.
Yeah, they are. They're going through these Gestapos, right? These federal law enforcement officers that are enforcing laws that are over 200 years old. Yeah, sounds like a Gestapo, Craig. Yeah, we're arresting them for things like reading books, and stuff like that. Craig, I look at this idiot, this moron, this nincompoop, Tim Walz, and I said I got to agree with Senator Kennedy when he talks about AOC. Let's just proceed forward with Operation Let Them Speak. Let's put this guy on as many TV stations as he wants, Craig. Put him on the TV, put him on the radio, put him anywhere he wants. It just shows the world and the country what complete idiots they are, and the lies that they tell. No problem at all. No problem at all. Put this guy out there, because if anybody out there is able to tie their own shoes, they know this guy's an idiot when he talks.
Well, exactly, and let's take a look at some of the folks that are fitting the description that are being taken away. One such illegal alien is 50-year-old Adishidi Elmi of Somalia, who was arrested this month and convicted of murder, drunk driving, and disorderly conduct. Another is 25-year-old Eric Martinez, an 18th Street gang member from Mexico, who was arrested in April by ICE agents after having been convicted of robbery and possession of a firearm. At least 2 illegal alien child predators. I mean, Mike, this is a regular who's who of bad guys that are being arrested right there. And once again, each one of them being noted, they're arrested by ICE, not by the police in Minnesota, not by state troopers there in Minnesota. They're being arrested by the Department of Homeland Security, by ICE agents. And if it weren't for ICE, these folks would still be out robbing, murdering, and raping children.
But Tim Walz, ipso ergo sum, right? Tim Walz must like those things in his community. He must like murderers, rapists, and everything else. He does not want them taken away from his community.
Yeah, obviously, if he doesn't want to get rid of them, he must be okay with it. It must be something that he is in support of. I don't know. I don't know any other way to look at it. You don't want to get rid of it. It doesn't even cost you anything to get rid of it. All you got to do is hit them up. Just hit up ICE and say, "Hey, I got one for you."
There you go.
They'll do the rest.
That's it.
Anyway. All right, we all know the folks over at The View are full of BS, but I had to share this because, you would think that it would be kind of a nonpartisan issue for people to be like, you know what? The White House lied to us. We now know there's not a doubt in our mind that the White House lied and covered up the mental health, the mental acuity of the president. We now know this. Jake Tapper's book kind of reveals that, right? Kind of tells you that. Now, what's funny about that is that we know that the Bidens lied. We know that at the very least Joe Biden lied. I don't know if Joe Biden was even there enough to know that he wasn't there. But we know that Joe Biden lied. We know that the White House lied. We know that the media, as much as Jake Tapper's trying to act like, well, they didn't know, they were at the very least neglectful in their job, right? Well, now you've got the folks over at The View who are basically like, they're mad at Jake Tapper. They're mad at the folks at CNN for even mentioning that this stuff happened, for revealing the cover-up.
Why is this important to know now?
Yeah. Well, that's what some people want to know.
It just seems to me,
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to be concerned about at the moment.
So
Here's the Trump's atrocities. I'm going to list them for you. Cutting Medicaid.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we're concerned about now.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Cutting Medicaid, slashing funding for cancer research.
Yep.
Rising prices because of tariffs. Dismantling USAID, which helps children and people who are poor around the world.
Yeah.
Fears of recession, destroying due process. When is Jake Tapper going to write a book about the cognitive decline of the person who is in charge right now? I saw him the
Suddenly
other
you're a
day, and
liar.
all he's doing is hawking his book on the CNN. And he's flanked by other people, Ryan Stelter and Van Jones also hawking his book. When did CNN become a place to hawk your book? Is Wolf Blitzer coming out with a cookbook?
Talking about if you're telling me that hundreds of people knew that he was not able to do his job, then where the hell was everybody?
Well, he did his job. He did his job.
That's the point.
This is the thing. Now, Jake is my former colleague. I know him well. He's a friend. He's a terrific journalist. He said that 99% of what is reported in the book was discovered after the election. So I think we can put that part to bed about journalists holding on information until so that they could make money off their book. What I do think that we should be very, very concerned about are the people that were in the Trump administration that did hold on to information about how Trump was conducting the presidency so that they could make money off of.
So here's the funny part. Now, wait. What's getting me is there's a clear thing here where we know. Like, first of all, Mike, you and I now I didn't know anybody in the Biden White House. Did you?
No.
Okay, so you didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. We weren't in the mainstream media. We didn't have access to any behind the scenes information. But we posted and we commented and we showed evidence multiple times of the president demonstrating in public that he was having issues. And we're nobody. So if we knew, how does the mainstream media get away with saying they didn't know?
Yeah, listen, Craig, I sat here with you just about a year ago and said that they were going to replace Kamala because she clearly couldn't win an election on her own. They were going to replace Kamala, find a good candidate to put in there, then let Joe win. And then when Joe wins, he would leave and they would say, oh, he had dementia or he had cancer or something like that. My exact quotes were dementia or cancer or both. And then they were going to let their vice president take over. Well, obviously, they weren't smart enough to realize Kamala couldn't win when they put her in there. And this plan's playing out. Craig, you and I said these exact words on the air a year ago, that this was their plan. And here they are. And again, if they had listened to us, maybe they would have the presidency. because they'd have somebody in there besides Kamala they were running with. But you know, it's again just goes back to what we talked about with Tim Walz. Let them speak. They're idiots, and the rest of the world is looking at them now, going, "What the frick are these broads talking about?"
Yeah.
All right? You know, somebody put them down. Put the channel down. Turn it off.
There's a reason why no one is watching your show, ladies, and there's the reason is because you have been exposed. There's no way doing what you do, you cannot have seen what we saw. There's no way. If you're paying any attention to Joe Biden, there's no way you couldn't have seen what we saw in public. And when you see it so often in public, in the place where they take serious steps to make sure it doesn't happen, you got to know what's happening behind the scenes. And you got Jake Tapper in his book talking about, you know, people were saying, you know, we would call them and talk to them and they would tell us, people who we trusted would tell us that, you know, no, he's okay, he's all right. So in other words, what you're saying is you didn't do your job. You trusted your political friends to tell you the truth instead of getting the truth yourself. Your job in the media, if you are in the media, your job is to uncover the truth. Your job is to find out the truth, find out the facts. It's not to cover it up. And now you want to get all these kudos for doing it after the fact, after he's no longer president, because once again, I have not read the book, but I've heard excerpts from. There were concerns dating back to 2017. There were people who were like during COVID, during the 2020 election, when they would do some of the like they would do these video town halls. There were consultants working for him who were like, "This guy can't be president. He can't follow a conversation," while he was running for president.
Yeah,
and they said nothing.
Remember, he kept saying things like, I want to be your next senator. Remember, he kept, falling back on his old lines. But, listen, I'll give a couple of props to Jake Tapper. I'm not going to say he's the only smart one in the group, but he's the one that's collected the most brain cells. Now, the other one's got like 2. He might have like 8, They're all saying the same thing. At least Jake's found a way to make money off of it.
Well, there you go. Exactly. He's going to make some money off of it. It's just... I'm sorry. For any Democrat to say anything, and then they come around. Well, what about this guy? Look. You know what? First of all, Donald Trump has always said wild things. Not everything he says is wild, but he's always known for saying wild things. And there's nothing that he has said. I mean, he may be right about stuff. He may be wrong about stuff. But there's no way you can look at the totality of what he says and what he does and question whether or not the man is all there. You cannot question his mental acuity because, first of all, dude works circles around any modern day president. I mean, he is on Monday through Sunday. I would say easily 20 plus hours a day.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
He's sat and answered questions, whether it's interviews or whether it's press conferences, well over 100 times so far this year. And we're barely out of the first 100 days.
Right.
He's done more interviews. He did more interviews in the first 100 days than Joe Biden did his entire term in his entire presidency.
Yeah.
You may not like what you hear from him, but you can't say he's not transparent.
That's right. It's all transparent. Yep.
Yeah, dude, I am just the View. Advertisers, whoever is telling people that they need to advertise on the View, those marketers need to be fired. They do, because nobody's watching the show. And it's literally just there because the advertisers keep putting money into it. It's the only and if the advertisers stop putting money into it, they would dry up. Period.
I'm telling you, people watch it now because for the train wreck value. That's it.
Oh,
That's the only reason they're watching. Yeah.
Well, the only time I ever watch The View are the clips like the ones we aired today, and it's all The View is good for is to show you what idiots there are in the entertainment industry on the left.
Anytime there's big breaking pro-conservative news that comes out, I can't wait to watch The View the next morning and watch their heads explode. It's just,
It is kind of fun. It is kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, not so good news. we talked about this at the beginning of the show. George Wendt, the star, probably the most significant character on television that came out of Cheers, has passed. Known as Norm Peterson, the beloved sitcom from 1982 to 1993, died on May 20th. I'll just read a little bit of it here. George Wendt, best known for playing Norm Peterson on the long-running sitcom Cheers, has died. He was 76. The actor died on the morning of Tuesday, May 20th. In a statement to People, his publicist, Melissa Nathan, confirmed beloved actor and comedian George Wendt, best known for starring in the NBC hit comedy Cheers, has passed away. George's family confirmed the news of his death early Tuesday morning, announcing he died peacefully in his sleep while at home. The statement continued, George was a doting family man, a well-loved friend and confidant. To all those lucky enough to have known him, he will be missed. And I can honestly say, he will be missed, but he will live on forever as Cheers will be available. Although probably now watch them start putting it in the paid behind the paywall for some of these services.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah, I definitely. Listen, there were some great people that came out of Cheers there, and he was a star there on the show, probably one of the top stars on the show, right? Plenty that have had more successful careers after that, but that's because George chose to, go live the life off of, syndication. So, and enjoyed the life for the last 30 years, 40 years, but definitely gonna be missed. Like I said, I put my best Norm Peterson sitting at the end of the bar clothes on for today to toast.
Yeah, good stuff. People don't realize how much, the royalties from syndication, man, they you can live a career off of one show. You can live a whole lifetime if you're on the right show, like Cheers, especially now with streaming services. You have the ability to make a pretty healthy sum if you have access to the rights.
I remember by the end of it, they were all making, every one of them was being paid top salary of the day of the industry when it was, going off the air in the early 90s.
What's sad about shows now is usually it takes like that about 10 years before you finally get to a point where people are making so much money that it's just not cost effective to keep it going. That usually only lasts after about 3 or 4 years now. With shows now. And the worst shows nowadays, man, 3 or 4 years and they're only doing like 10, 11, 12 episodes a season. They pretty much start to price out now on some of these shows. So it's kind of sad. You don't get a chance to really see characters and shows grow the way they used to.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
All right, folks. So that's going to bring us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster on discount today. And in honor of our good friend Norm, we're going to go out. All of our parting shots are going to come to us courtesy of our good friend, Mr. Norm Peterson, and the folks over at Cheers.
My nipples, it's freezing out there. Afternoon, everybody. Hey, Norm. What's the story, Norm? Thirsty guy walks into a bar. You finish it. Afternoon, everybody. Norm! Norman? What you up to, Norm? My ears. Evening, everybody.
Norman?
What's new, Norm? Most of my wife. Evening, everybody.
Norman?
Beer, Norm? Nah, I probably just drink it. Afternoon, everybody. Norm!
Norman?
What's doing, Norm? Well, science is seeking a cure for thirst. I happen to be the guinea pig. Evening, everybody. Here, Norm? That's that sudsy amber stuff, right? Yeah, I've been hearing good things about it. Afternoon, everybody. What can I do for you, Norm? Well, I am going to need something to kill time before my second beer. How about a first one? You got it. Howdy, sports fans.
What'll it be, Norm?
Fame, fortune, fast women.
Yeah? How about a beer?
Even better, even better.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. You got any normisms for us?
Oh my God, there are just so many of them. I mean, use them to this day. Hey, Mr. Peterson, want a beer? Okay, but stop me at 1. Now make it 1:30. You know? Hey, Mr. Peterson, how's a beer sound? Sounds like it's going down my belly. You know. What was the other ones? There. She's just so many. Hey, Mr. Peterson, want a beer? Kind of early, isn't it? For a beer? No, for a stupid question.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's going to bring us to the end of our program today. But before we go, we're going to give one last shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get yourself some AR barrels, any caliber you want, pistol caliber, rifle caliber, any length you desire for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, EMS, whatever it is, get your group together, get your agency together, go on over to uscombatgear.com where you get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Take a moment. Once again, visit our sponsors. Tell them the guys over at the Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace out.